during my first sojourn in the Right Music Centre, I suddenly had a pool of musicians that I could utilise. Um, and I had some little gigs um, at the Crawford Art School. Um, and suddenly, I could, have various bass players and drummers. And this was like the kind of genesis of the Mark O'Leary trio, which was also had a bit of a pseudonym called Triosk. So basically, Pat, the head honcho in the Right Music Centre, and remember again, the Right Music Centre was the only game in town, and that's where everybody went. So Pat said, got this guy looking for bass lessons, very intelligent pop, and kind of well off, blah blah blah, but nice guy, very nice guy. And I said, yeah, sure. So basically, the guy came in and he took a bit of a course, and I kind of showed him the rudiments and syncopated chromatic anticipations and how to do walking bass lines, how to play riffs, keep time, various time signatures, all this kind of stuff. And the guy was good. The guy was very, very good. And then he said, look, I'm going away there for the summer, sailing, wherever he was sailing, I don't know, wherever he was going to. But he said, look, I can take maybe a couple of lessons from you before the summer, and whatever, we can reconvene later. Because I'm going to college then, or something like that. And so anyway, I think he came to my house for like 2 lessons, and he said, do you want to come down to my house? And I was like, okay. And kind of vicissitudes, like having been brought up in the Western Road and kind of over here and stuff. It's kind of, anyway, so I went down to his house, like, and it was like something out of Brideshead Revisited. It was quite unbelievable. Badminton court, tennis court, croquet lawn, and a kind of a lake with all these kind of exotic fish and stuff. It's quite amazing, actually. And I remember the mother giving me a sandwich, and it was like something out of. I haven't seen anything like that because I was in Claridge's myself, and it was like something you wouldn't get there. And I could barely finish it, and actually I didn't finish it, to be honest with you. It was just too much. And Rory was kind of laughing because this was Rory Feely. And everything that I showed him, he was able to grasp immediately and replicate. It was incredible. So anyway, he took off sailing wherever, and I went to England, working outside music. Actually, nothing to do with music. Absolutely fantastic opportunity. Glad that I did it. And again, living in Mayfair and all that stuff. And being Bentley driven to work every day, which is quite amazing. Anyway, so came back, and I called him up and I said, be interested in forming a band? And he was like, wow, yeah, sure. So there was a guy in the Right Music Centre called Dave Barry, and he was like session drummer, wunderkind, extraordinaire, really great drummer, but a session guy, not a jazz guy, session guy. But like with the band, the trio, we were kind of playing jazz, but we were also playing kind of rock, proggy type stuff. What was in vogue at the time, the kind of Stone Rosy type stuff, and we're doing all that kind of stuff. So, a kind of very eclectic mix of from jazz to rock to bits of metal to funk to pop, the lot. So we could change on a dime and go in any different direction. And Rory was well capable. He was a brilliant, brilliant bassist, absolutely exceptional guy. But again, like going to a high-end degree, not really wanting to tough it out, being a professional musician. That wasn't for him. And but with that band, I mean, as I said before, I had a lot of firsts. First minimal techno concert, the first environmental ambient installation made in Cork, and quite a lot of other things as well. But we played the first free jazz concert, kind of based mainly coming out of Ornette, maybe a little bit of Derek Bailey, but that was in the Triskel Arts Centre, and we were the first band from Cork to do that. And so we played in Triskel, we played in City Hall, we played in Connolly's. So we played a lot of different venues. Didn't play Henry's, but we played in practically everywhere else, all over. We got gigs all over the Barras. We played in a festival in the Barras. Actually, we headlined at a festival in the Barras, and we had a kind of a matinee gig, and we played at night as well. And we played another gig then after that. So we were like loads and loads of gigs. And then it gets interesting because, as I said, Dave Barry was a session guy. Brilliant guy, lovely lad. And but he was a session drummer. So he was making big money. So it was getting trickier and trickier to get him. So eventually I managed to mend bridges with Tom Carey from Midway with regard to the interference fiasco. So I now made friends again with Tom. So we were back mates, and I got Tom into the band. And so myself, Rory and Tom were playing together. And that was a fantastic little band because Tom was well up for the kind of directions that we were going in. Not really jazzy, but we were doing less and less jazz, even though we did play at the Jazz Festival, believe it or not. We played in the Jazz Festival, myself, Rory and Dave. We actually had big gigs during the Jazz Festival. A couple of years before I played with Larry Coryell. So that kind of was, those gigs went down very, very, very well. And, it kind of got me in with some of the personalities in the Jazz Festival who penultimately became good friends of mine. So then we had Roy LeCain, a brilliant, brilliant drummer who played Remo drums, electronic drums. And I was going to suggest him for Voltaire at one point if we were thinking of getting a drummer rather than drum machines. I was going to suggest him. But we had him, and he was a fantastic guy. But Rory was one of the best, and could have been one of the best bass players. Thank you for listening.